Hi learners. Welcome to our channel. Today, we will talk about Napoleon Bonaparte. He is one of the most courageous military commander and the most powerful emperor in Europe. So without any further delay, let's start the story. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, in a town called Ajaccio on the island of Corsica. His family was noble but not very rich. His father's name was Charles, and his mother's name was Letizia. They had many children. Napoleon had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. His older brother's name was Joseph. Napoleon was a smart but mischievous boy. He liked to play and explore, but he also loved to read and learn. He was interested in history and math. When Napoleon was 10 years old, he left his home in Corsica and went to France for school. He studied at a military school in Brienne. This school was for boys from noble families. Napoleon worked hard and read many books. He was good at math, which was important for military planning. However, he did not have many friends. His classmates teased him because he spoke with a Corsican accent. But Napoleon did not give up. He studied harder and prepared for his future. At 15, Napoleon moved to another military school in Paris. This was the best school for soldiers. He learned to use weapons, ride horses, and lead men in battle. When he finished his education, he became an officer in the French army. His first job was in the south of France. In 1796, Napoleon was given command of the French army in Italy. The soldiers were tired, and they did not have enough food or clothes. But Napoleon encouraged them. He told them they were strong and could win battles. The army listened to him, and they fought bravely. They won many battles, including one at a place called Arcola. In 1797, the war ended, and a peace treaty was signed. Napoleon became a hero in France. In 1798, the French government sent Napoleon to Egypt. The journey was secret. The soldiers did not know where they were going. Napoleon wanted to weaken the power of Britain by taking Egypt. The French army won some battles, but the hot weather and long marches were very difficult. Many soldiers became sick. Napoleon also brought scientists with him. They studied the animals, plants, and ancient monuments of Egypt. They wrote their discoveries in a book called The Description of Egypt. After some time, Napoleon left Egypt and returned to France. In 1799, Napoleon returned to Paris. France was in chaos. The government was weak, and people were unhappy. Napoleon decided to take control. On November 9, 1799, he took power in an event called the coup d'état of 18 Brumaire. He created a new government called the Consulate. He became the first consul, which made him the most powerful man in France. Napoleon worked hard to improve France. He created the Bank of France and the Legion of Honor. He also made new laws, which were called the Napoleonic Code. These laws were fairer and clearer than before. He also reformed the education system so that more people could go to school. In 1800, Napoleon had to fight Austria again. He wanted to surprise the enemy, so he led his army across the Alps. It was a dangerous journey because there was a lot of snow. The Austrian army did not expect Napoleon to come this way. The French army won a big battle at Marengo on June 14, 1800. Napoleon continued to win battles and expand his power. In 1803, he renamed the famous art museum in Paris, the Louvre, as the Musée Napoleon. Many great artworks from across Europe were placed in this museum. On December 2, 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France in the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. His wife, Josephine, was crowned Empress. Napoleon invited the Pope from Rome to attend the ceremony. Napoleon was now the ruler of France, and he wanted to make the country strong. In 1805, France's enemies, including Austria and Russia, attacked Napoleon. But Napoleon was a great military leader. On December 2, 1805, he won a huge victory at Austerlitz. This battle is known as one of his greatest victories. The French army defeated a larger enemy force by using smart tactics. This victory made Napoleon even more powerful. Napoleon was first married to Josephine, but she did not have any children. In 1810, Napoleon divorced Josephine and married Marie-Louise, the daughter of the Austrian emperor. In 1811, they had a son named Napoleon François Charles Joseph. He was given the title, King of Rome. Napoleon was happy because he now had a son to continue his legacy. In 1812, Napoleon decided to invade Russia. He wanted to defeat the Russian Emperor, Tsar Alexander I. Napoleon's army was very large, with over 600,000 soldiers. They marched deep into Russia and reached Moscow. But the Russian army used a clever plan. They burned their own city so that the French army would not have food or supplies. The winter was very cold, and the French soldiers suffered greatly. Many died from hunger and freezing temperatures. Napoleon had no choice but to retreat. This was a big failure for him. In 1814, France was invaded by its enemies. Napoleon fought bravely, but he could not stop them. On April 6, 1814, he gave up his throne and was sent into exile on a small island called Elba. His mother and sister went with him. But Napoleon was not happy there. He wanted to return to France. In 1815, Napoleon escaped from Elba and returned to France. People welcomed him back, and he became emperor again. But his enemies did not want him to rule. They formed an army and attacked him. On June 18, 1815, Napoleon fought his last battle at Waterloo in Belgium. The British and Prussian armies defeated him. This was the end of his rule. After his defeat, Napoleon was sent to a faraway island called St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. This time, he was closely watched so he could not escape. He lived in a small house and was very lonely. He spent his time writing his life story. On May 5, 1821, Napoleon died. He was 51 years old. Even after his death, people remembered Napoleon. In 1840, his body was brought back to France, and he was buried in Paris at Les Invalides. His name is still famous today. He changed France and Europe with his laws and military victories. His story is one of great success and great failure. Many people still admire his leadership and intelligence. Napoleon Bonaparte was a man who changed history. He started as a small boy in Corsica and became the most powerful man in Europe. His story is full of victories, defeats, and lessons for the world. He remains one of the most important figures in history. He proved that one man with a vision can change the world. Now, what's your opinion about it? Tell me in comment below.